Now that Ash Ketchum's journey has come to an end, it's time to go over the absolute best episodes of the Pokemon anime. Now keep in mind that the anime has well over 1,000 episodes to choose from, so my list of favorites will most likely be different from yours, and that's okay. We all watch and enjoy Pokemon for different reasons, so this is just a look into what I consider to be peak Pokemon fiction. Also keep in mind that I'll only be considering one episode per arc to avoid overcrowding, but we'll give a brief mention to the others if necessary. Alright, and with that being said, let's get started. This video is sponsored by Merge Gardens. Ever need just a few moments to wind down and have time for yourself? Well, escape to a world of beautiful gardens and serene landscapes with Merge Gardens. In this addictive mobile game, you can create your own garden oasis by merging plants and flowers to create unique and stunning displays. Collect rewards, unlock new items, and watch your garden grow as you progress through the levels. With beautiful graphics and relaxing gameplay, Merge Gardens is the perfect way to unwind and tap into your inner green thumb. I really like the creative freedom of this game, as you have complete control over your gardens, from the placement of plants to arrangement of the flowers. As someone who spends a lot of time working and editing on videos, sometimes I need a break. I sit here for a really long time, and Merge Gardens is the perfect game to play during those short breaks. You can download the game via the link down below or scanning the QR code on screen, and it's totally free to play. Before getting into what I consider to be the best of the best, let's begin with the honorable mentions that were just shy of making the main list. Number 40, The Climb to be the Very Best. Number 39, Hot Matches. Number 38, Chimchard. Number 37, Strategy with a Smile. Number 36, Showdown at the Shalour Gym. Number 35, The Symbol Life. Number 34, Time After Time. Number 33, Iris and Excadrill against the Dragon Buster. Number 32, Electric Shock Showdown. Number 31, All Eyes on the Future. Number 30, Helping the Hometown Hero. Number 29, Friends, Rivals, Lend Me Your Spirit. Number 28, Evolving Strategies. Number 27, Glory Blaze. And number 26, Go West, Young Meowth. Alright, and now it's time for the actual best episodes. Here are my top 25. Number 25, The Moment of Lumio's Truth. In my opinion, the best gym battle episode. Similar to what made the Karina gym battle great, this one excels thanks to the history between Ash and Clement. This isn't just an average gym match, it's a match between close friends. And as seen by the episodes leading up to this, Clement left the group in order to train and give Ash the battle he deserves, which shows a lot of maturity. And man did Clement show up. He taught his Pokemon new moves, worked on new strategies, and truly gave it his all. Ash also brought his A-game and gets to show off the power of his newly evolved Goodra. No gym battle has looked this good and felt this personal. It had it all. Number 24, A Fork in the Road, A Parting of the Ways. Now it's not just the fact that Jesse's able to find love that makes this episode so good, it's the friendship of the trio that truly elevates this. When they find out about Jesse's decision to leave Team Rocket, James and Meowth respect her choice because they believe she deserves true happiness, even if it hurts them. But once they're in trouble, Jesse and Wobbuffet leave their perfect life behind to come to their aid. It's kinda sad, especially since Jessie gets heartbroken, but the friendship and camaraderie she shares with James and Meowth more than makes up for it. They may not have love, but at least Team Rocket have each other. Number 23, A Grand Fight for Winning. From start to finish, this episode is filled with spectacular action we've come to expect from contest battles. It's the best one in my opinion. Here Dawn is showing how far she's come as a coordinator by throwing everything she's got at Zoe, and Zoe is also amazing in this episode by showing why she deserves to be in the finals as well. In the end, Dawn loses, which is unfortunate, but what saves this loss is the way Dawn is able to handle it with such grace. She ends the episode being extremely grateful for her journey and everything it's taught her, which is the best way they could have handled this. Number 22, Charizard Chills. After getting destroyed by Tad and his Poliwrath, Ash nurses his frozen Charizard back to health. During this time, Ash shows his love and care for Charizard, his determination to make him feel better, and even shares his strong desire to battle by his side. It's a pretty heartfelt episode that shows how much Ash is improving as a trainer, and in the end, he's rewarded with Charizard's friendship and obedience. Man, is it so satisfying to see these two battle as one for the first time. Truly an iconic episode. Number 21. Pika and Goliath. This episode is basically just the more modern and better version of the iconic Electric Shock Showdown episode. Pikachu gets destroyed by a Raichu, there's the contemplation of evolving Pikachu, and we even have Paul here to throw more salt into the wound. Like the episode with Sergi, this episode is all about the bond between Ash and Pikachu, and how Pikachu doesn't need to change to be the best version of itself. Because this episode takes place a few generations later, the two have had much more time to strengthen their relationship, so the emotions hit a lot harder this time around. And there's also the fact that the battles are better too. Number 20. Mastering current events. After an initial loss against the Air Battle Master, Gliscor and Ash decide to train the night away in order to master reading the winds, and Gliscor actually does better in the rematch by learning Giga Impact. That still wasn't enough though. But being so impressed with his progress, McCann offers to train Gliscor, and we then get a touching goodbye with him. What makes this episode work is seeing Gliscor's determination. Knowing how much of a wimp he used to be, this episode shows how much he's grown and matured. Even though it was sad to leave him, you couldn't help but feel proud of him. Number 19. When Regions Collide. To celebrate the anime's 20th anniversary, we got the return of Brock and Misty in Sun and Moon. At this point, it's been a long time since we've seen the original trio together, so it was cool to see how much they progressed. Brock has an intense fight with Kiawe where he wins by whipping out the Mega Steelix, and Misty uses Mega Gyarados against Ash. Unlike their time in the original series, here Ash, Brock, and Misty all have time to shine. The dialogue and the banter was great, the battles were awesome, and it's just great to see that they've all gotten stronger in their own way. Number 18. The Battle Finale of Legend. This slot will be repping the entire Team Galactic arc. Team Galactic were properly built up during all of Diamond and Pearl, and here their story reaches an epic crescendo. We have Gary Oak in the fold, Hunter J's brutal death, Team Rocket teaming up with Looker, Cynthia's part of the action as well, the world is going to shit, and Ash and the gang are fighting the admins and Cyrus, and they even use the powers of the Lake Trio. This was an awesome conclusion, and I will never get tired of watching this final episode. This was arguably the best adaptation of a Pokemon game's plot. Number 17. Pace, the Final Frontier. After multiple attempts, here we have Ash's final battle against Brandon. I really don't gotta explain why this episode makes the list. It's the reunion of Ash's original Kanto starters, and they're all fighting together once again. This is actually the last time they all fight together on the same team, so this makes this victory even more special. We get great moments between Ash and his Pokemon, cool strategies, Pikachu defeats its first legendary here, and Ash even gets the offer to become a Frontier Brain. Now that's how you show respect to our boy. What a way to close out the Advanced Generation saga. Number 16. Do I hear a Ralts? Here Max finds a sick Ralts that needs to be taken to the Pokemon Center, but Team Rocket are in the way. So while Ash, Brock, and May fight them off, Max goes off on his own to take Ralts to safety. Although I didn't really like Max, I could not help but root for him in this episode because he's never had this level of responsibility before, and he clearly wants to do his best. Thanks to the help of Ash's Snorunt, they're able to take good care of Ralts, and it eventually gets better. The episode ends, however, with a heart-wrenching goodbye between the two that will hit any Pokemon fan in the feels. But don't worry, Max, you'll become a trainer once they let Ash age. Number 15. Unova's Survival Crisis. Say what you will about Team Rocket, but at least they gave us Operation Tempest. I'm honestly impressed with how well this was, considering the original plans for the organization didn't get to play out. Here we have the climax of Sirius, Jessie, James, and Meowth. It's the culmination of the Meloetta build-up. Cynthia's here again, and it's a literal legendary confrontation against Giovanni. This is the serious type of arc Team Rocket should have always gotten. Giovanni felt like an actual threat. Number 14. Can't Beat the Heat. The culmination of Ash and Gary's rivalry takes place in the Johto League. Although I don't think the battle holds up much when it comes to animation these days, it still most definitely holds up when it comes to its story. Despite falling behind early on, our boy Ash is able to make a crazy comeback, which all led to the finale of Charizard vs Blastoise. This was an iconic showdown that ends with Charizard's signature seismic toss, finally solidifying Ash as a force to be reckoned with. He was no longer the weak little Ashy boy from the beginning. Ash is now a competent Pokemon trainer who will soon be moving on to bigger and better achievements. Number 13. A riveting rivalry. It's the Kalos League semifinals, and after taking some losses due to Sawyer's analytical battle style, Ash makes an epic comeback in this episode due to his famous unpredictability. This battle is all about the trust between Ash and his Pokemon, and no matchup better shows this than the final clash between Sawyer's Mega Sceptile and Satoshi Gekkoga. Not only was this battle a spectacle thanks to its insane animation, not only was it epic thanks to the XYZ theme, but it was also amazing due to Ash just battling as his complete self. No more pressure, no more worries, this is Ash and Greninja at 100%. And man, was it special. Number 12. The Fires of a Red Hot Reunion. If you weren't watching Black and White, then this was the episode that brought you back. This episode is all about Ash reminiscing on his times with Charizard. The good, the bad, all of it was amazing to see in the updated Black and White art style. This was an unapologetic nostalgia trip, and I was totally here for it since by this point it's been about 7 years since Charizard's last appearance. This all led to Charizard officially rejoining Ash's team and even ending in an epic battle against Iris' Dragonite where Charizard totally would have won if it wasn't interrupted by N. Number 11. Time Warp Heals All Wounds. In this episode, we meet Edna, a woman who let her husband leave in order to study medicine. Turns out Edna was pregnant during that time, but doesn't get the chance to tell her husband as he dies a year later. Edna lives in denial, however, and waits for her husband at the train station every day. It is a heartbreaking story. Thankfully, thanks to some unexplained time travel, May, Squirtle, and Meowth are able to prevent Jonathan from leaving and thus changing Edna's life for the better. If that wasn't good enough, the episode also ends with May's Eevee hatching, a truly wholesome ending to an unexpectedly emotional episode. But speaking of which... Number 10. One journey ends, another begins. This is another episode that deals with death and grief, but unlike the previous one which could be fixed with the powers of fiction, this one tackles death in a very realistic way. When Layton's mentor Stoutland dies, he goes through a very real grieving period. Luckily, Ash, his Pokemon, and even Meowth are there for him. There's a good chunk of the episode that solely consists of music, as we just have to sit there and feel what Litten is feeling. But I love the optimistic ending they gave him. Although his life with Stoutland is over, he's now found a new life and family with Ash that is just about to begin. Number 9. Memories in the Mist. Alright, the sad times continue with us transitioning into full-blown depression. In this episode, we learn of Mallow's mother and how she died from an illness. During that time, having her mother constantly in the hospital frustrated Mallow to the point that she told her mother she hated her, not knowing that that would be the last time she saw her. But thanks to the powers of Tapu Fini, Mallow was able to reunite with her mother and apologize. The backstory alone is enough to get you in the feels, but this emotional reunion will leave you in a wreck. As sad as this may be though, it's great to see Mallow get closure from this. And her and her mother both give an exchange where they instead share gratitude for being in each other's lives. The icing on the cake isn't even the fact that Mallow gets a shaman in the end, but the fact that Ash and Torracat are able to reunite with Stoutland and get their own closure as well. Honestly, I can go on and on about this episode, but just know that I think it was beautifully crafted. Number 8. Charizard's Burning Ambition. And the sad times continue. Not as emotion destroying as the other episodes, but still a really good one. After meeting Liza and venturing to the Charcific Valley, Ash's Charizard gets humbled into oblivion by realizing that it isn't the strongest Charizard out there. This hurts its pride big time as up until this point, it was near unbeatable. You can't help but feel bad for him. His sheer will and determination is enough to allow Liza to train him, however. So this is where we say goodbye to Charizard. I love this episode so much because it shows how much Ash and Charizard have grown. Charizard used to be a menace that did whatever he wanted, but now he's disciplined and willing to learn from others, while Ash is being an excellent trainer by letting go of his best Pokemon for the sake of his own happiness and growth. Number 7. The Dream Continues. Easily the best series transition episode. After his travels across Unova and the Decollor Islands, Ash returns to Pallet Town and thinks about what he'll do next. This is a fantastic episode because it's where Ash reignites his Pokemon Master Dream. Kinda like the last episode of Journeys, but better. It's an almost self-aware type of episode, cause it feels like Ash knew Unova wasn't his best run, so now Ash is getting himself fired up to try even harder in his next journey. This was the perfect way to set up XY, and you can't help but get hyped for that next series while watching this episode. Number 6. Mission: Total Recall. I was in shock with how much this episode hit me in the feels. After seeing Type Null and re-triggering her trauma, Lily loses her ability to touch Pokemon again, but is determined to overcome this. Thanks to the help of Nebby, we get a touching sequence where Lily revisits the places of her childhood, and even get a glimpse of the happy time she used to have with her family. It was so wholesome. Things get pretty dark pretty quickly though when we learn that Faba is the one who erased Lily's memories after her traumatic experience. That he caused, by the way. I still question why they let this man run free. But anyways, after a rescue from Silvally, Lily finally remembers the truth about her past and fully gets over her fear. Seeing Lily go on this emotional journey to overcome this and finally getting the conclusion she deserved was so heartwarming and satisfying. Number 5. From Z to Shining Z. This is the amazing finale of the Alola League. After a long and awesome battle against his father figure Kukui, Ash is now facing the final Pokemon Tapu Koko. The episode opens up with a high speed and well animated bout between it and Ash's Naganadel, and this all leads to the epic finale of Pikachu versus Tapu Koko. The insane Z-move clash was the perfect way to end this, as it was the build-up of Ash's entire time in Alola, and the fact that Ash and Pikachu were able to win made it all the more better. This was a fantastic way to celebrate Alola's first champion. Also, shout out to the episode prior where Torracat defeats Incineroar and gets the best evolution in the entire anime, and even Ash's win against Gladion. These are all worthy of being part of the best episodes. Man, the Alola League truly was peak, huh? Number 4. Battling a Thaw in Relations. After a series full of conflict and build-up, we now reach the climax of Ash and Paul's rivalry. Their full battle already had so much to offer, but the final episode is where it truly all comes together. The battle between Pikachu and Electivire was a great throwback to Ash and Paul's first battle, and then of course, the final match between Infernape and Electivire was intense and spectacular. After everything Infernape and Ash went through with Paul, this was their chance to prove him wrong, and they did. The moment where Infernape activates Blaze and goes absolutely ham on Electivire is extremely satisfying and hype as heck. Top that off with the iconic Type Wild song, and you've got yourself a peak Pokemon moment right there. In the end, Ash and Paul are able to see eye to eye and have respect for one another, which was the icing on the cake to this already perfect episode. Now that's how you conclude a damn good rivalry. Number 3. The Homecoming Crown. Nearly 3 years after the ending of Sun and Moon, we finally get the resolution to the Aether family storyline, and man, was the wait worth it. The emotional roller coaster this family had to go through was pretty dark and heartbreaking. What with Mon losing his memories and thinking a freaking Ultra Beast was his daughter, this is so messed up in so many ways. Luckily though, the Aether family are able to get their happy ending. The scene where Lusamine cries once Mon is able to recognize her always gets me, man. This woman thought the love of her life was dead for so many years, and now she finally got him back. And the fact that they're able to accept Nihilego into their family after taking such good care of Mon is also really sweet. It ties in perfectly with Sun and Moon's family themes. This episode brought so much closure that was needed for Lily and her family, and the fact that Gladion, the one who once wanted to destroy Ultra Beast, is the one to catch Nihilego shows just how much thought and care they put into this episode. Number 2. Forming a more perfect union. Representing the entire Team Flare arc, we have that perfect final episode. But of course, shout out to the other episodes as well, as it's what brought us to this point. What makes this such a perfect episode is the fact that it's the culmination of everything that was built up in the XY anime. Ash and Froakie's destined meeting, Alon and his Mega Evolution specials, the gym leaders Ash encountered, Bonnie and Squishy's relationship, it all comes together in this climactic final battle against Lysander to save the world. Seeing all the gym leaders risk their lives to save Ash, seeing Alon get redemption by saving Marin's Chespin, even seeing Team Rocket play a part, this truly felt like the Avengers Endgame of Pokemon. Top that off with Zygarde Complete Form absolutely nuking Lysander, and you've got yourself quite the epic finale. This is an episode that ends the main story of XYZ with a literal bang, and it's what I love to see from Pokemon. Amazing stories with amazing payoff. Honestly, this was my favorite episode of all time, but then another one came along to finally dethrone it. Number 1. Partners in Time. The Team Flare arc might have been the culmination of the XY anime, but this episode, the finale of Ash vs. Leon, was the culmination of the entire Pokemon anime. Now I'll admit the Cinderace part could have been handled better, but everything else afterwards was done so perfectly that it more than makes up for it. Pikachu vs. Charizard was everything I could have asked for and then some. The action, the animation, the choreography, for Pokemon standards, this is the absolute peak. And then of course you have the cameos of all of Ash's companions and the cameos of all of Ash's Pokemon, which fully cement this as the climax of Ash and Pikachu's journey. The beauty of this episode as well is that even if you didn't watch Journeys, you can still enjoy this episode because it's just Ash and Pikachu from start to finish. The fact that Ash actually won and became world champion is still mind-blowing to me. After nearly 26 years, he's finally the very best like no one ever was. This episode will forever remain my favorite, because it's the one where I truly believe that Ash Ketchum became a Pokemon master. Thank you all for watching this video. Let me know your favorite Pokemon episodes in the comments. Shout out to the channel members for their extra support, and consider becoming one as well to watch these videos days early. Last but not least, make sure to live your life to the fullest, and have yourself a damn good one.